Good morning everyone and welcome to today's lesson. Today we're going to be doing a John Munro lesson on our text for the week, Giraffes Can't Dance. In this lesson we're going to be having a look at what we already know about giraffes. We're going to be getting ourselves knowledge ready. We know that when we get ourselves knowledge ready, we think, what does the title tell me? What images come in mind? What do I already know about this topic? What do I predict this text will be about? And what will I do as I read today? So I've already had a think about what I already know about giraffes. I'm going to ask you to pause this video in a moment to think what you already know about giraffes. I'm going to ask you to write on a piece of paper or draw a picture about what you think giraffes look like. You might think about the colour that they are. You might think about what they eat or what they do. I'd like you to pause the video now. Welcome back. On my sheet, I thought about giraffes and thought about what I already know about giraffes. I thought about giraffes and I thought, I know giraffes have long necks. I know that they're very tall, they eat leaves, and they're yellow and orange on their bodies. Were some of ours the same? I wonder if you thought of anything different on your page. You may send those through on your student stories to your teacher, or you might send them through on Class Dojo in your messages. We're thinking about Giraffes Can't Dance today. The title tells me that they can't dance. I'm looking at my picture on there. This character in my story, his name is Gerald. I wonder why Gerald can't dance. Do you think it's because he has really, really long legs? Or he has this really long neck? My picture shows me on the front that he looks like he's doing ballet. Does anybody else do ballet as well? He's got his toes pointed and he looks like he might be doing a big turn as he's dancing or a big leap through the air. What do you think? Do you think that's what he's doing as well? In this story, we're going to think about what's going to happen in this story because there's going to be a problem. I wonder if we can ask a question about what we think this story is going to be about. We might use a question like who, or what, or where, or when. Your question might be why as well. Why can't giraffes dance? I wonder if we're going to be able to find that answer out in our story today. I'm going to add that to my sheet over here to see if we can find the answer by the time we have finished reading today. Why can't giraffes dance? And I know that's a question, so I need to put a question mark at the end. I know that when I'm looking at a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. I know in the middle of the story there's going to be a problem. I know that the problem is that giraffes can't dance, but that problem needs to get solved. So I wonder how Gerald is going to dance at the end. Will Gerald learn to dance? I know that's a question, so I need to put a question mark at the end. My two questions I'm going to ask myself as I am reading today. Well, I'll ask myself at the end of my reading. It might be a bit hard for you to see because it is a little bit of a light pencil there, or pen. Why can't giraffes dance? And at the end of the story, I want to know, will Gerald learn to dance? I wonder if that's the problem that's going to get solved. I know that as I'm reading today, I need to think about the text that's in the story. And if I get stuck on a tricky word, I'm going to be using my reading strategies to help me as I'm reading. Giraffes can't dance. I can see some animals here that look like they can dance. I wonder if they're going to be some animals in our story today. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully bandy and his legs were rather thin. It already tells me who. I can already see in my picture, there's the picture clue that tells me where this story is going to take place as well. As I was reading, I could make some pictures in my brain because the author has used some great adjectives to describe what Gerald looks like. They've used a noun group. Gerald was a tall giraffe. Tall is my adjective. Giraffe is my noun. We looked at noun groups last week, and Mrs. Carnell's going to be looking at noun groups this week as well. I can make a picture in my head because it told me that his neck was long and slim, that his knees were awfully bandy, and his legs were rather thin. We're going to be using those words after today's lesson to describe what Gerald looks like in our collection sheet. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees. But when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Poor Gerald. Has this ever happened to you before? Have you tried to do something and just not been able to do it? I have. I know that I've tried to do some cooking before. I've tried to cook a cake and it didn't come out looking like a cake. It came out a little bit like rock cakes. I think I felt a little bit like Gerald. I'm looking at his face and he looks a little bit deflated. Now, every year in Africa, they hold a jungle dance where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. Here they all are at the jungle dance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. I wonder if we're getting to that problem in the story. As I was reading this story, I could see a word that told me where this story takes place. Could you find that word as well? Yeah, that's right. This story takes place in Africa. That's why there's lots of African animals. Oh, look at all the animals doing their beautiful dancing together. The warthogs started waltzing, and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced the tango, which was elegant and bold. I really like in this picture, the lioness has got a flower in her mouth as she is dancing with the lion. Very cute. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. I wonder if you can share a dance with your teacher this week. You might send them a little video of you choosing a dance to do with some music on Class Dojo. Gerald swallowed bravely. He's feeling very brave, and he walked towards the floor. Do you know what? The lions saw him coming, and they soon began to roar. Hey, look at clumsy Gerald! The animals all laughed. Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool! Oh, Gerald, don't be daft. How do you think poor Gerald is feeling? He's in the middle of this circle of all the animals, and all the animals are sitting there and laughing at him when he tries to dance. How would you feel if someone was laughing at you when you were trying to dance in the middle of a big circle? I don't think I'd feel very happy. I think I might feel a little bit shy or upset that people are laughing at me. I wonder what Gerald does when people laugh at him. Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. They're right, he thought. I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot. So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before. So sad and so alone. Poor Gerald is walking home all by himself while all of his friends are having fun at the jungle dance. Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. The moon can be so beautiful, he whispered with a sigh. Excuse me, coughed a cricket, who'd seen Gerald earlier on. But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. I wonder what he means by he needs a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. You can see Gerald's got his eyes closed as he's imagining all of those things and listening for all of the music that he can hear. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing around. He's starting to look like he's going to dance. I wonder if he's going to be successful when he tries to dance this time. He threw his arms out sideways and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. He's doing it, he's dancing. I really wish all the animals could see him dancing now. I don't think they'd be laughing anymore. Gerald felt so wonderful. His mouth was open wide. Oh, I'm dancing! Yes, I'm dancing! I am dancing, Gerald cried. And look at his face. He's so proud that he's doing a fabulous dance. And one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived, while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen! He can dance! Well done, Gerald. How is it that you can dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twizzled round and finished with a bow. Can you show me a big twizzle around and a big bow as you're done? Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. We all can dance, he said, when we find the music that we love. So we're going to have a look at our questions from the start now. We had 2 questions. Our first question was, why can't giraffes dance? I want you to have a think about what we saw at the beginning of the story. we could see right there at the beginning of the story why giraffes couldn't dance. I'm going to read what it said in the story. But when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. What was happening to Gerald when he tried to run around and do some dancing? That's right, he buckled at the knees. So it's telling me right there that his knees were very buckly. He couldn't dance because they were buckly. They also told me that his knees were awfully bandy and his legs were rather thin. I wonder if that's why he also couldn't dance. Our last question was, will Gerald learn to dance? Well, did Gerald learn to dance at the end of the story? Yeah, he did. And the reason he learnt to dance is because Cricket told him that rock and roll and the tango just wasn't your chosen dance that you could do. Every different person has a different dance that they can do. They just need to find out what they are best at. And what was Gerald best at? He was best at listening to the nice calm music and listening to Cricket playing his violin. He didn't need loud rock and roll music or tango music. He needed to do nice swishy music. That's the end of our story today, Giraffes Can't Dance. You're going to be listening to this story again tomorrow, and then you're going to be having a look at what Gerald was like at the beginning and what he was like at the end of the story on Wednesday. After today's lesson, I'm going to ask you to fill in a worksheet that you're describing Gerald and the parts on Gerald's body. So have a nice look at Gerald. Think about what his legs look like and his body and his neck. Think about some of the words that were said in the story to describe those parts of his body. You're going to be adding those on the worksheet. Don't forget to share that worksheet on Class Dojo with your teacher, either on your student story or your student worksheets there, or you can do that on the message section on Class Dojo. Thanks very much, guys. Have a lovely time doing that activity. I can't wait to see them all.